in my head anymore. They're somewhere else. Now, we've been waiting to see who comes before we decide what to tell. There are some comfortable cushions down here if you'd like to come round. It's a real delight to be here. We're down from North Wales, so it's very different here in the south. So I think I'll start at the beginning. If you're ready. Story coming. Story coming. Story coming. This is a story coming from West Africa, from the Ekoi people, who came from forest land in a country that's now called Nigeria, but the Echo people don't exist anymore. All we know of them is their stories. And here's one coming. Are you ready to catch it? Are you ready to catch it? Story coming, story coming, story coming. Catch it. You caught it. You all missed it. We'll see if you can do a little bit better. Story coming, story coming, story coming, story coming. Now this time, are you ready? Have you got it? You got it. There it is. Throw it up in the air and, oh my goodness me, there it is. So small, hard to see at all. Mouse, mouse, little mouse. She goes into every house. Mouse, mouse, little mouse. She knows everyone. Goes into the houses of the rich, the poor, the old and the young. Mouse knows, smells everything. Mouse eyes, sees everything. Mouse ears, hears everything. And mouse paws, finds everything. All the little forgotten bits, the scraps here and there. Mouse noses, mouse finds, rolls them up, tucks them carefully, carries them home, all her precious bits and scraps, unwanted things. What does she do with the things that she's found? She opens them, unwraps them, treasures them, every one. She looks at them. She turns around, she talks to them, and they talk back their stories of what they've been. And she listens, and she hugs them, she kisses them, she rocks them, and Mouse turns them then into little story children. Oh, now, carefully, carefully, she sorts through her scraps, because each of her story children needs a different kind of wrap. Each story child is different from the others, so each one wants to wear different colours. Olive green. Who likes red pink? Who likes purple? What do you like? Orangey vermilion? Yeah, because now Mouse's house is rainbow bright with all her story children. Oh, now Mouse, she loves to be at home, because poor little Mouse, she's no longer sad all alone, no. She's got her children, always ready to play. but she doesn't want to let them out. She's afraid they might run away. So she shuts the doors, she locks the locks. She keeps her children inside. Till one day, meh, 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 sheep comes past. Trips and falls on Mouse's house. The door cracks, the lock snaps, swings open wide, and all the mice, children, story children, run outside and up and down and here and there, and everywhere they run. And Mouse, she can't catch them. But maybe you can. And every time you catch a story, put it on your tongue. Chew it and chew it until it's become your own. And then when you're ready, spit it out and share it around. If this one hadn't been passed on, we wouldn't know about the Equi people at all. Pass on the stories, won't you? Let's see. There was a boy about your age, and his name was Chinamakwate. Chinamakwate means boy who dresses in the bark of a tree. Bark cloth. You know why? You know why he dressed in the bark and the leaves of a tree? Because he had no mother, no auntie, no sister, no granny, no one to make clothes for him, no father, no uncle, no grandfather, no brother even to find the money to buy him the things that he needed. No, Chinamakwate was all on his own. He had to make his own clothes, but you know what? He wasn't lonely, because he had a sort of a family. Only they weren't people. They were bigger than people, they were big, and some of them had horns, and they were the cows and the cattle. He looked after all the cows and all the cattle for all the people in the village, and also for the chief of the village too. And every morning he would take his little umbira that he'd made himself out of bits of metal and bottle tops too, and he'd go out and he'd call them. Hey-oh, hey-oh, big bull bellower, come, 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 little calf, hi, kicker, come, puka, 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 come, 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 come. Oh, mother rough tongue, liquor, come, now, 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 anyhow, just come, 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 come. And when they heard him, they would come running as fast as they could, and he'd take them out and over the hills till he came to the place where the grass grew green and where they could all eat and where he could sleep. And at the end of the day, maybe little calf high kicker would come and nudge him awake. Or maybe old mother rough tongue liquor would bend down and with her rough sandpapering touch she'd lick him awake. Or maybe the big bull himself would bend down and scoop him onto his head and down onto his back and carry him back home. And that was good. Until one year, when the rain didn't come. Not a drip, not a drop, not a speck, not a spot. And little by little, the water holes dried up. And then the wells, and then the earth itself, until the trees began to shrivel and drop their fruit and drop their leaves. And whatever there was to eat began to grow dry and hard and fall on the ground, and by it was so dry that the earth turned to dust and blew away in the wind. And there was nothing for anything to drink, and there was nothing for anyone to eat, and there was no grass left for the cows. And they got thinner and thinner and thinner till their eyes were as big as cooking pots, and their backbones jagged as saws. Chinamakati, he thought to himself, if I don't find a place where the rain will fall, then surely my cows, they will die. So we must go far and further than far till we find a place where the rain will fall. Come on now. Walk, walk, walk. Come with me, quick, quick. Hurry, hurry. And they walked and they walked and they walked. And they walked and they walked and they walked. And they walked and they walked and they walked all day. Did they come to a place? Did they come to a place where the rain fell down and the grass was green? They did not. They walked on and on and on and on until they were so tired that one by one they sat down to the ground. And Chinamakati, he looked up. He could see the vultures circling, waiting. And he thought to himself, I must do something, or my cows will die. You know, when you're so sad and so tired that you can't go on any longer, is there something you do to cheer yourself up? To give yourself a bit of energy, to make you happy? Is there anything any of you do? Sing. Yeah. That's what he started to sing. He started to sing a little song that just came into his head for no reason at all. And the cows, they pricked up their ears. They lifted up their heads, and one by one, in their soft, mooing voices, they started trying to sing along. Do you think you could sing? Can you say Zamande? That's not bad, but it's a little quiet, I can't hear it. Can you say it a bit louder? Zamande. Can you say Zamande Ramdera? Can you sing it? Should we try? Can we go a bit quick? Zamandera, 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 lovely there. Zamandera, can't hear you. Zamandera, can't hear you at back. Zamandera, 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 Zamandera. The cows began to tap the beat with their hooves like this. Zamandera, Zamandera. Can you do that? Zamandera, 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 singing as well as the stamping of hooves and the snorting. They could hear another sound, and it started like this. Can you rub your hands together really hard? You might have to put your biscuit down. Yeah, right. Okay, good. Really hard. And then, you know, it started to sound like this. And then, you know, it started to sound like this. And then it started to sound like this. And then, you know, reached the floor, it started to sound like this. And then little by little, at long, long last, it began to slow, and it began to go, till by and by, all you could hear was that. And you know what that sound was, don't you? What was it? It was the rain. And the cows opened their mouths. And Chinamakati spread out his arms, and the rain came down. And the water holes filled, and the ground became soft, and the grass grew so thick and so lush that the cows could eat it up, and they ate, and they ate, and they ate, until they could hardly even move. And that's almost the end of the story, except when Chinamakati got back to the village with the cows so well and so strong, and when he told them about his song, they made him the son of the head man of the village. They gave him fine clothes to wear and good food to eat. But you know what? Chinamakati, he always kept his old clothes made of bark cloth, just to remind himself of the little boy that he had once been. And that's the end of that story. Trouble in my boots. I think that puts me in mind of something else. Let's see if I can turn this one up. Or on my way down the road. Sorry, we didn't exactly decide what we were going to do because we thought we'd wait till you come, and now suddenly we realised we've got a microphone on, so we're having a private chat that's not. Before old man ran down the road, and his boots were full of holes. Oh, they let in all the stones. Poor old Randy was so sore with those boots. He just couldn't walk anymore. And as he was stopping and looking around, he suddenly saw the most beautiful little green hill, all covered in soft flowers. And he said to himself, that's just the place for me to have a bit of a rest. And he sat down on that beautiful little hill, and he stretched out, and he yawned, and he fell asleep. And then all of a sudden, he felt something pulling his nose. And he opened his eyes and he saw a teeny, tiny fairy man. No bigger than his finger. Hold your finger up. Yeah, about that size. And the teeny, tiny fairy man, he was pulling the old tramp man's nose, and he was looking at him like this. And the old tramp man said, "Hey, little fella, why are you pulling my nose? And why are you looking at me with a face like a week of wet Wednesdays, eh?" And the little fairy man said, "Because you are in the way. So just get up and go away." Well, that's not very nice, is it? The old man said, "I've got a right to sit on this hill, and sit on this hill I jolly well will." And the little fairy man went like this. And the old man, he said, "Little fella, I didn't mean to make you cry. Why are you crying? Why?" And the little fairy man said, "You see, the king and the queen, they sent me out to clear the fairy green so we could dance. But I can't, because you are lying all over it and there's no room for us." "Oh," said the old man. "Oh, little one, I don't want to spoil your fun, but you see, I just can't go on. My feet are so sore I can't walk anymore. My boots, they're no use at all." The little fairy man, he looked at the old man's feet and the boots and the toes poking out, and he went. And he said, "If I was to give you something, if I was to give you a new pair of boots, would you be on your way then?" "Oh," said the old man, "if you was to give me a pair of boots, I'd do anything for that." The little fairy man was gone. And in no time at all he was back. And in his hand he held a little bag. And in the little bag, if I can open it, which isn't always that easy, sometimes it's really quite difficult to, in that bag, one of these magical bags in there that's really more magical than you want it to be. Very much open it. Maybe something like here's got a bit of magic. Have you been able to open this? Ah, you got this. I'll open it up here. And inside, well, you'd expect you to choose, wouldn't you? But it was an egg. It was an egg. And the old man said, "An egg? I can't put an egg on my feet, can I?" And the little fairy man said, "All sorts of things come out of eggs. Just blow." So the old man, he started to blow, but he didn't have much puff. You're going to have to help. Can you blow? And a bit of blowing from the back as well. And all of a sudden, the egg, it began to shake, and the egg, it began to quake, and then the egg, it began to break. And out of that egg came the sweetest, neatest, dearest, and completest little. Look at them. They had tiny, tiny heels. They had itsy-weetsy laces. They had creases and bends in all the right places. There was only one thing wrong with them. You know what that was, don't you? Yeah? Exactly. The old man, he said, "They're the beautifulest boots I ever did see. But I'm never going to get those tiddly things onto my great big clod up a feet." The little fairy man said, "Why don't you just try?" So the old man, he didn't want to upset the little fella, so he sat down and put one of those boots next to his great big toe, and all of a sudden, the boot began to grow. And it grew. And it grew. Till he slipped on as easy and soft as a soap. So we put the other one next to his other foot, and that grew too. And now he had these boots on. His feet, they felt as good as new. And he was just about to go on his way when he looked at the ferryman and he said, "Tell you what I'll do. You've given me these lovely boots. I'll do something for you. Call all your fairy friends up and I'll play them a bit of music so they can dance." Ferryman, he put his fingers in his mouth. I better not do it now because it made such a noise. It would make all the glasses break. He blew and he whistled, and all of a sudden, the fairy folk began rising up through the little green hill. There was a fairy king with a fairy crown, fairy queen with a fairy tiara. There was, is it called tiara? Tiara's the word, that's it. And there was an old fairy grandmother with hair like white dandelion. And of course there were fairy children, fairy lads, a couple of fairy lads who looked like they were ready for a bit of a hurling match or something like that, maybe a bit of boxing. And then there was babies. There was fairy babies with fairy nappies trailing along the grass. And when they were all there, the old man, he picked up his little harp and started to play. And he played and played and he played away. And the fair old folk, they danced all day. They danced high and they danced low. They danced everywhere you go. Up and down and round and round. And then it's round and round and round. "Stop!" said the fairy queen. "Oh, stop," she said. "I can't dance another step." "But I'll give you something for making us dance with your music." And she kissed in the air, and it landed on the old man's boots. And straight away, they began to shine like the sun. And the old man, he thought to himself, it's time to go on. But just as he was turning, the fairy queen said, "Wait. Now, we don't want to be bothered by people coming and asking us for boots every 10 minutes. You've no idea what it's like being a fairy and being troubled like that. So, promise, you won't tell a soul. Do you promise?" "Of course you do, yes." "Very well." And the old man said, "I'll promise, Your Majesty. Mum's the word." And then he turned on his heel, and away he went with his fairy boots, afraid that if he waited too long they might change their minds and take it back. Well, he walked and 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 he walked, and in those boots he never got tired. And you know what else? Didn't matter what he walked through, the fairy boots were always shining bright and new. Until one day, I believe he was on his way to Cardiff. He was probably on his way to somewhere like this. Because all of a sudden, he was stopped at the side of the road by a meow. It was like a big wide road. A big wide road. No zebra crossing. No bridge. The old man said, "Oh, I wish I was safe on the other side of it." The moment he said that word, the word beginning with W, the boots, they began to twitch and they gave a skip, a hop and a jump, and he was safe on the other side of the road. Because you know what? They were wishing boots. They could take him anywhere he wanted to go. If you had them on your feet right now, I wonder where you would just zip to. So he was happy. The old man, walking along in those magical boots, until one day, he came to a river. And when he was looking at all that water, he suddenly thought, oh my goodness gracious me. My magic boots, they're magic, so they're always clean. But what about my feet that are up to my magic boots? Do you think they're always clean? I don't think so. That's not right, is it? Dirty, filthy feet in beautiful magical boots. No. So straight away, took the boots off, sat down. Can I sit down in the sand? Yeah, sat down, and he started scrubbing his feet in water. You know, people used to just pick up sand, rub between their toes, and dip them in soap. While he was busy doing that, a very rich man came walking along the path. Could even be that the rich man owned the path. He owned that bit of the river as well, all the fishing rights, you know. And as he was walking along, he saw the old tramp man washing his feet. And then he saw the boots, the path, shining like the sun. Oh my goodness, said the very rich man. I say, look at those boots. They look like boots fit for someone very important, like me. They look like boots that belong to a king. The old tramp man, he looked up with a grin and he said, I'll tell you the best thing about them boots is, they're mine. The rich man, he looked at the tramp and he could see that he was all out at his elbows and knees and whiskers everywhere. He shook his head, he said, no, I don't think that's possible. You would never have enough money in 1,000,000 years to buy a pair of boots like that, and nobody would go giving those away. I say, old man, did you steal those boots? Did you? Well, did you? Well, no, man, he did just what you were doing there. He was just kind of shaking. And then he said, no, I didn't. Just because I'm poor, I don't go stealing things. As a matter of fact, you're wrong, because those boots was given to me. They were given to me by a teeny tiny fairy fella no bigger than my finger, so there. Well, the rich man, nobody believes in fairies anymore. Better hurry up and move on. And away he went. And the old tramp man, he was so upset. He turned around to put on his boots and be on his way, and guess what? They'd gone, hadn't they? And you know why they'd gone, don't you? Do you know why? He'd forgotten something, hadn't he? The old fella. He'd forgotten his promise to the fairy queen, and that they'd taken the boots back. And now the old man, he didn't have any boots at all. He was walking along in his bare feet, scratching his head, wondering what he was going to do. And all of a sudden, he saw a little bit of wood. And that gave him a kind of an idea. So he picked it up and found a bit of sheep's wool, like you always can, stuck somewhere, and he stuck it on the top. Because he was thinking about the fairies, and he was thinking about those old fairy grannies with their hair like dandelion. And he found a bit of a rag, and he stuck that on too. A bit of colour from the grass, and by, he made the likeness of that little granny fairy. And that pleased him so much. He had a little fire, and he got a bit of charcoal, and cut his finger a bit, so he used that red. And he started thinking about the lads out for a hurling match, or maybe a bit of a boxing match. And what he did was, he made one like that. And he said to himself, well now, let's see if these fairies can get me another pair of boots. So he kept on going till he got to the town. found a little stick like that and thought that would do. And then he found himself at a lovely Millennium centre. And there were all these people sitting there just like you are now. And he came in, and as he came in, there was a little bit that was fenced off, and a bit of the fencing was broken, so he picked it up, you know, just to be tidy. Picked it up. And he went in, found himself on stage. He said, "Oh, hello. Tell you what, listen, if I was to show you how the fairy folk dance," you do the drum, I'll do that, yeah, it's all right. "If I was to show you how the fairy folk dance, would you put a few pennies together to get me a second-hand pair of boots? Would you do that?" You're not sure. You're not sure. You would though, wouldn't you? You've got a kind face. You definitely would, wouldn't you, sir? You're on his side, and you would, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would, exactly. So they agreed, and the old man said, "Very well, and you need a drum or two." And he took a chair like this, and he sat on that bit of wood, and in fact, you could do it yourself when you get home. And he said, "Well, let's start." Oh, put it aside, haven't we? Right. Let's start with the old lady. Oh, I'll tell you what, if you were to drum, and you were to clap your hands with the drum, could you do that? That's a very delicate one. Let's see if the boxer lap can go a bit faster. That's not bad at all. But I'll tell you what, the old lady, she can usually manage to bring her arms into bed when she dances, although that's not the traditional way of dancing, because you usually have to stick by your side. But let's see if she can. Are you ready? And that is how the old man got his new boots. And that's how the jig doll came to be. And that is as true as I stand here before you. Should we do the others as well? We've got 1 minute left. We'll do one last story, but I'm going to tell the story, but you'll tell it too. The second half repeats itself, and you say it too. Can you do that? You sure? Should we do that, or should we do the one about the bear? We'll do that. Right. Sorry, I can never make my mind up. We'll have a bit of practice. I'm going to tell the story, and you'll tell it too. The second half repeats itself. You say it too. You say it too. You say it too. Not bad. The earth was dry, and so very, very hot. The only place to be was a shady spot. A what? The animals were thirsty, tongues were hanging out. Where could they find water in this dreadful drought? Well, the lion looked, and he found a little pool, crystal clear water and exceptionally cool. He went to have a little sip and begged to drink some more, but bounding up behind him came a big belly boar. A pig, about half a ton of it, big tusks, yeah? Scoot, says the lion, I'm first in the queue. We all know who the king is here, it's certainly a you. Says the boar, that's just what you think. The old king's gotta wait till I've had the truth. They circled round each other, and it wasn't a pretty sight. The quarrelling grew louder till they began to fight. vultures settled in a ring. We've come to hear from me, they said. Cheer the new man king, huh?
Cheer the new man king. Cheer the new man king.
Well, the fighting grew furious, the sweat began to fly. The boar broke a tusk, the lion lost an eye.
The lion lost an eye. The lion lost an eye.
Hang on a minute, says the lion to the boar. Let's have a little rest, then we'll fight some more.
Then we'll fight some more. Then we'll fight some more.
No, say the vultures, we've come to see fair play. We haven't come to watch you sitting round all day.
Sitting round all day. Sitting round all day.
Those birds, says the boar, they don't care who's the winner. The only thing they're thinking of is who will be for dinner.
Who will be for dinner? Who will be for dinner?
Yes, says the lion, my friend, I think you're right. But the birds will be the losers if we stop the fight.
We stop the fight. We stop the fight.
Well, the moral of the story, my friends, it's up to you. The fighters never win a thing, the vultures always do.
Vultures always do.
The vultures always do. Now it's true.